Hey guys,
You caught me off guard with that. I didn't know you were pressing the button.
we saw two movies today. If you watched our review of Logan Lucky, which just went up a while ago, you'll know we saw two movies today. We saw Logan Lucky and The Hitman's Bodyguard back to back in the theater, and it was really fun.
It was enjoyable. It was tiring, but enjoyable.
I didn't even find it all that tiring.
It was tiring for me because I got woken up.
Yeah. That's a story for another time.
Yeah, well.
But so let's talk about The Hitman's Bodyguard, because we saw Logan Lucky. We kind of took a gamble on both movies because I heard both movies. I heard Logan Lucky was okay. I heard Hitman's Bodyguard was not as good as a lot of people hoped. So we kind of took a gamble on whether or not we personally were gonna like either of these movies, and we were both pretty surprised by Logan Lucky, honestly. I was expecting it to be pretty good, but it was a lot better than even I was expecting. He was expecting it to be alright, and it was better than he was expecting. Mm-hmm. So we had one out of two were good.
We were at that point where we were like, okay, 1 out of 2. It's good. It's going good so far.
It's going good so far.
Let's see about Hitman.
And then there was an hour in between, and it was like, let's hope it's worth it.
Yeah.
And then we walked into the theater, sat down in our seats.
A couple ladies sat next to me. It's great. I didn't get the same treatment.
No, it was not nearly as bad as Kong.
No.
If
you don't know what he's talking about,
go watch my Kong review, because I told
a
little story in there. But so let's talk about The Hitman's Bodyguard. The Hitman's Bodyguard tells the story of Ryan Reynolds. He is this bodyguard. He protects people, and after one of his last missions failed, he is kind of knocked down from his place, and he gets his job having to protect this hitman named Darius Kincaid, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and he has to transport him to Amsterdam so that he can testify in court against this guy named stereotypical Russian name, played by Gary Oldman. And so basically what we have is a action comedy road trip buddy comedy movie with a lot of use of mother effer. That's like Samuel. That's Samuel L. Jackson's catchphrase at this point.
Yes. It's overused. Every single time it makes you laugh.
It makes me laugh because it's Samuel L. Jackson,
and he says it in some funny situations too.
Can I just say real quick though? Samuel L. Jackson has some of the best expressive eyes in the acting world. Like, some of the faces he makes in this movie, just with his eyes alone, are amazing.
I just thought of one scene where he's looking out the broken...
Yeah.
He's like... he's like, you good?
But so, let's talk about the cast. Ryan Reynolds plays Michael Bryce. He's pretty good. He's Ryan Reynolds. Basically, all the main two actors in this movie basically just play cartoonized versions of their stereotypes in movies. So Ryan Reynolds is a fast-talking, sarcastic D-bag. Samuel L. Jackson is Samuel L. Jackson.
Only a killer.
Only he's a hitman.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds is a bodyguard.
Yeah.
I will say, though, the chemistry between the two is the best part of the movie. Because they start out hating each other, and then they're going on this whole adventure together. It's a very cliche story. They start out hating each other, they go through all this stuff together, and then they end up liking each other. It's very cliche, not gonna lie.
It kind of ends up how you expect it would.
It very much goes exactly how you expect it's gonna go. But the thing is, I was able to forgive each cliche in this movie because everything else surrounding the plot is very well done, honestly. again, you have the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson. Best part of the movie. The jokes are amazing. You have some really funny scenes where like Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson are just going back and forth at each other, making fun of each other, and it's funny. It's really funny. And then the action scenes are great too. You have some very well done action in this movie. Obviously, for a majority of it, specifically a scene involving a boat and a motorcycle, it's obvious that there were stunt people used, especially for Ryan Reynolds, because Ryan Reynolds' whole part in this is he's driving the motorcycle and he's got a helmet on. So clearly that's probably where they used a stunt double. Because usually when they use a stunt double, they want to hide the face so you can't tell it's a stunt double. And I will say they tried to like ADR a couple of lines of dialogue for him to say during these action sequences, and it didn't quite feel right with me, I guess. Yeah. But other than that, the action is still very well done, and the stunt people do an amazing job. Gary Oldman is in the movie. He plays the villain, the generic Russian dude, and he is amazing in this movie, and you can clearly tell that this role is kind of a throwback to a lot of his roles in the 90s, because in the 90s he did a lot of villain parts. He was a great 90s villain. And so that's kind of the same type of thing that he channels here in this movie. I still love it. I'll never get tired of Gary Oldman playing a villain. He's really good. Someone I was not expecting to be that great in this movie, though, was Selma Hayek. She was actually a very unexpected surprise as Samuel L. Jackson's character's wife. She's funny. She's witty. She has a really fun action sequence that's in a flashback. And I just wasn't expecting her to really be that interesting of a character or to even really have that much of a character in the movie. So I was unexpected. It was an unexpected surprise. But there were some really fun action set pieces in the movie. I will say the action did get a little tiring after a while because near the end of the movie, it just goes from action sequence to a slight break to another action sequence to a slight break and that break is even shorter to another action sequence and then the end. And for a bit of it, it does get a little bit I don't want to say boring, just it's like, okay, can we have a break yet? Because majority of like the first part of the movie is kind of just setup and not a lot of action going on. And then when the action happens near the middle of the movie, it's just kind of nonstop. Which I guess, in terms of the story, it does make sense, seeing as he's a hitman and he's being hunted by these henchmen. But it's still, it gets a little tiring after a while. But, I will say this movie it just ultimately has a forgettable plot. But very memorable jokes and characters, so I would still recommend it. I would still recommend it on the basis that you're not going in for the plot. You're going in for the action sequences, the jokes, and the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson.
Which, to be honest, is kind of what I wanted to see to begin with, yeah. So,
yeah.
I guess it delivered what it promised.
It delivered on exactly what we wanted, which was just a fun action comedy with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, and that's exactly what we got. But I will say, because these forgettable action comedy movies are like a dime a dozen now, you see like tons of them, whether it's like Melissa McCarthy doing it or like the one Heat movie or Spy, those kinds of movies. These movies are like a dime a dozen. This isn't the last one, this isn't the first one, but I will say that this one brought a lot more to the table than a lot of them. mainly just with its great leads, but it also had some pretty good moments of just non-comedy or action. They actually had a couple of really good emotional moments. I would say I personally could have done without the whole Ryan Reynolds character love story with I forget the name of the actress, but she plays Elektra on Daredevil on Netflix. That I it doesn't really add or take away anything from the movie, so I mean it could have been cut out and it wouldn't have really affected anything. But yeah, all around, I think this movie, I would go as far as to call this movie the masterpiece of forgettable action comedies. There's even a funny Taken reference in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I caught that too.
But yeah, this is just a fun, action-packed, funny movie that is a lot more fun than other films of its nature. Mason, anything?
Ow. I don't know. I think you pretty much went over everything. Yeah, you get exactly what you think you're gonna get, and that's all you could really take from it. If you're looking for the plot, sorry, look for another movie. But if you're looking for what you think you're gonna get, then go watch it, because it's funny, it's action-packed, and they're great.
Alright, I'm gonna give The Hitman's Bodyguard a B-.
I'm gonna give it a B+.
So I guess you liked it a little bit more than I did then.
I did, yeah.
Couldn't stop laughing
Yeah.
throughout the whole movie. I mean, this is definitely one I'll probably end up buying on Blu-ray eventually and watching many times because
I would just want to watch it over because it's so funny.
Because I mean, even in the slow parts with stuff that I didn't really particularly care for, it was still funny. And that's really all that I wanted. And so, yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let us know in the comments if you watched The Hitman's Bodyguard. And if you did, what did you think about it? And we'll talk to you in the next video.